Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac After... But why are we on the chest, though? I have very limited memory of how the last episode ended. But I'm assuming we won because of the quality of this run rate. Maybe sometimes what happens is if you beat the boss, but you quit the game by Alt F4ing while you're still in the final cutscene, you have to do... Usually you had to do the entire floor over again, though. I have no recollection of being here whatsoever. It was like 2 or 3 days ago that I recorded the last episode, but... Alright, well, we'll start this one with a very strange win. And then we'll come back around. I remember having a bone heart. That seems familiar. And I remember losing the bone heart, because that happened just now. Alright, if you'll just excuse me the damage. Oh, I remember we had parasitoid tears and guppies, so we were getting flies and spiders. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Let me just make sure, where the heck is that last Isaac episode? Let me peep this for a second here. Probably like here? No, that was Wizard of Legend. Here? Hey everybody, welcome back. Includes myself. This is the run. Casey, it's a tough one. We died! Because of the Suicide King card. What? I'm so confused and yet simultaneously I don't really know. Anyway, this is a confusing start to the video. Hello, my son, Ruka. You are one of the 2 best boys, okay? The other one's not Justin, it's Tomo. But you gotta get into your box or you gotta leave the room. You can't sit on my lap all day, okay? What's your choice? What's your choice? You can't choose to just be petted. That's not a choice. If you get in the box, I will dish out pets regularly. If you're out of the box, you gotta be out of the room. That's the... Oh my lord. There's our seed. Stats are great. Like, actually extremely great. For a start like this, at least. Don't intimidate your brother Tomo, okay? Brother Tomo is sleeping right now, and he needs the sleep, because he's a cat, and they sleep 18 hours a day anyway. Alright, now we got some peace and quiet. Yeah, so again, I don't really know. I remember the run where Ooh, that was pretty excellent. I remember the run where I accidentally killed myself with Suicide King, because it's the worst I've ever felt about myself. But I got over it. So I don't know if that was like, it offered us the chance for redemption, accidentally. The reason I hated that run where we died thanks to accidentally using Suicide King is because it's such an easy thing to not have happen. And then on top of that, we had the easiest winning run of all time. But you know, we very rarely in today's day and age do we have a game-losing mistake like that. Which is why you just gotta laugh, you know, it's gonna happen from time to time. Happens in sports now and then. J.R. Smith not looking at the clock, understanding what time it is when he tried to kill the clock in the NBA Finals. Patrick Stefan, if you've never seen it. Patrick Stefan, I should say. I believe he was playing for the Dallas Stars at the time in the NHL playoffs. Open net. Misses the open net. Falls down, gives up the puck to the Edmonton Oilers. They skate, there's like 10 seconds left in the game. Skate all the way down the ice, tie it up, win it in overtime. Embarrassing. He's a former #1 NHL draft pick. So sorry to the Atlanta Thrashers for that one, by the way. Now Winnipeg Jets. Who knows, dude? If you drafted one of the Sedins, we wouldn't have had the amazing legacy in Vancouver that we had, but you guys might have won the cup this year. I mean, you replace whatever the heck Patrick Stefan ended up getting you with Daniel or Henrik Sedin. Starting to look like you're in a pretty good spot there as far as I'm concerned. Even as a 37-year-old. I digress, though. Hey, you back off, mister. Anyway, what I'm getting at is sports. It is sports. It's just a game. That was not as bad as I thought it would be. That was how you knew as a kid that you bought a legit product. It would always surprise you. I still get that way during movies sometimes. You know, I get that, like, EA Sports moment. Like, when I go to the theater, I have no idea who made a movie unless it's Disney and Marvel, right? So when I get to the theater and it's... Dun, 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 gung, gung, dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. You know, that's the Universal. That's the Universal theme song, if you didn't know. What's the another easier one to do is for sure grung gung grung gung gung gurung gung. Yes, I'm not watching Steins Gate, but I'm familiar with the meme, okay? Try to keep myself abreast of all the relevant meme information so that I continue to have a chance to resonate with my audience. Hey, Book of the Dead is substantially better than Monster Manuel. I'll be leaving. Oh, but as long as we're leaving thieving, we'll be leaving with some kind of dough. Let's go check out this boss trap room first. So whenever that happens, I'm like, oh man, I recognize that. It's not like I really think I'm in for a good movie, I just, you know. Just, it sets the stage, right? I like all parts of the movie-going experience. I do not dislike the commercials at the start of a movie. They're always car commercials. I don't know if it's like the people that are in a higher tax bracket tend to go to the movies or something like that. Well, in this day and age... Yeah, okay, you get the idea. I'm gonna stick with Book of the Dead just because we have Guppy's head like almost literally every other time. The only thing that annoys me about the movies is that, at least in Canada, they have squandered in-game trivia, pre-movie trivia with sponsored content. So it used to be, and many of you will have lived through this golden age, it used to be they would put trivia on the screen prior to the movie, and it would be like an actor's face, and they'd be like, this guy was a doctor who didn't like kids in Jurassic Park. And then I'm the only dude in the audience going, Sam Neill! It's freaking Sam Neill! Is it Matthew Perry? It's not Matthew Perry, that's from the SNL song, okay? Then, the true and real golden age. Smartphone-enabled pre-movie trivia where you play against the people in the lobby. Genius idea. I'd go to the movies half an hour early, sit there, do some research on Wikipedia. Pull out my phone. Hey, if you're ready for time play, pull out your cellular telephone. It was great. They'd ask you questions that were actually trivia, you know? What year did this movie come out? Who was the star of this? It's light stuff, you know, it's not nuclear medicine or something like that, but it's still, you know, it's a test of your knowledge. Then they started doing it like this is maybe now 4 or 5 years ago. They got to the point where they were like, it's half trivia, but then there's also one round that's sponsored by the Milk Board of Canada. What's your favorite kind of milk? Or it would be like, this new movie's coming out. Who's better, Thor or Iron Man? And you pick who's better. And I mean, it's obviously, I mean, it was previous, you know, it was a few years ago, so it was Iron Man. But now it's like Thor, no question. He's had an incredible redemption arc. But anyway, I don't necessarily want to get into that. Now, it's 100% that. I told this story, but in the Packed Infinity War Theater, I won trivia. But it wasn't trivia. It was the weird fake trivia. And the way that I won, but was by being the first person, and I'm going to admit I was being pretty competitive. I was buzzing in immediately. Because I knew the only way to win is you can't put any thought into the answers. You just got to pick right, and you've got to pick right immediately. Might as well go with your instincts, right? It's like Jeopardy. Sponsored by, you know, again, the Milk Advisory Board of Canada or whatever. What's a better pairing for milk? Chocolate cake or cookies? I'm like, chocolate cake. Somehow it wins. What's a better pairing? Grilled cheese sandwich or something? I'm like, grilled cheese sandwich. I don't know. And it was right. We won the equivalent of 1/8 of a movie ticket. which is actually, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's also like 1/8 of a movie ticket is like $1.50 or $2 to win trivia in a packed 300-person theater. And it's not like we really get a free movie ticket. It's like we just, you know, we got to win 8 times to redeem it. We're a long way away from getting something out of it. It's corporations, man. They ruin the trivia. I don't know why, but it's not like I'm worried about it not being a meritocracy. It's more like, I know exactly what happened. Somebody at Cineplex said, well, we got all this, you know, advertising space. We're using it right now to, you know, incentivize people to come to the movie a little bit early, but it's not making us any money. Instead, we could sell out to the highest bidder that's probably still pretty low, and they got all these terrible, like, smartphone-enabled games with it now, too. There's one that we always get in British Columbia that's like, sort the recycling! And then you have to, like, tilt your phone to the right recycling bin to put cans, plastic, and organics in. But the tilt function never works right, and, you know, the service is really slow, and it's just like, please, God. The winner gets 50 cents off an order at Poptopia. Everybody else can go frig themselves. More or less what it comes down to. So there was a period of golden age smartphone-enabled movie trivia. It's now gone. They've squandered it. If any other theaters do that, it's pretty cool. Like, you got my blessing. But in Canada, there's been a lot of positive changes in the movie business. Okay. I'll still take it, but there's been a lot of positive changes in the movie business. Being able to buy tickets with assigned seating is so nice. I'm so happy they brought that over. The Alamo Drafthouse style, you know, you can pay a little more, be in a theater that's only adults, have big comfy chairs, order real food and drinks. I like it, but they haven't really gotten so ubiquitous over here yet, and the tickets are a little expensive. Like, there's one, the last time I looked at this was literally like 4 years ago, so it might have changed. There was one, like, alcohol-enabled theater that I saw that was in, like, the south. That was terrible. The south of Vancouver, except it wasn't, like, legally licensed. It was just like, we've got bigger chairs, but please note this is an all-ages location, and tickets are, like, $6 more expensive. And I'm like, why are you paying $6 extra for a chair? This isn't an airplane. If you need to stretch your legs, just get up and go to the bathroom or something like that. I don't understand why it's such a thing. No, thank you. Anyway, I still like going to the movies. I do. There's only a few things. I don't know, people, it's flights and movies that people seem to think have, like, the absolute worst behavior on planet Earth. And, like, for the most part, I don't know if it's, like, a Canadian thing, because, like, there's a real attitude of entitlement. I think in any big city, but definitely also in Vancouver. Like, I go out, whenever I'm driving, I spend the whole time shaking my head. That's all I do. Keep my eyes on the road and I shake my head. Because it's always like, yeah, sure, why don't you turn left from the rightmost lane? Like, what does it matter if you can get 1,000 people killed by doing that? Or inconvenience them, or, you know, scratch up the paint on their car and leave everybody, you know, it's like the rules don't really apply to anybody. So who cares, right? But at movie theaters, people have been very pleasant. I don't understand. Occasionally, I'll admit, I do get annoyed. People pull out their cell phones, they check the time, they pull out their cell phone, send a text or something like that. Relatively minor, and I want to point out, social norms can change, especially as technology like the cell phone is now completely ubiquitous. 99.9% of the population has a cell phone, maybe even a smartphone, right? At least 99% of the population go to movie theaters. Has a cell phone or a smartphone. When I was younger, if you talked on a cell phone in a restaurant or in public, it was deemed rude. Now, you see people all over the place. I don't even bat an eye at it. You see people on a cell phone, you go, yeah. If somebody got in a time machine and jumped from the year like 2002 to the year 2018, they would be annoyed constantly. And you'd be like, what's wrong, time traveler? They'd be like, they're being so rude talking on the cell phone. You're like, yeah, I forgot. That was a thing for a while. Get over it. Everybody does it now. It's like, who cares? Just, yeah, they're talking. Welcome to, being in public. Maybe people, to some extent, still consider it rude, but I don't think so. And I used to think that if you ever pulled out your cell phone in a movie, well, you know, basically you should be executed. But that might have been, and I'm, you know, heavy on the might here, that might have been a little bit of an extreme opinion. But I also, the only thing that annoys me about it is that it just makes me wonder, like, when the movie is the time in which you least need to access your telephone for so many reasons. One, you know when it started, you can look up how long it is, and all movies are like between a certain amount of time and another certain amount of time. Like, all movies are more or less 90 to 140 minutes long, okay? So you don't even need to look at your watch. You could just make a distinction, you know, you can make a guess in your head. Moreover, if you're worried about being late for something, why did you go see a movie? Everybody, if you were late for, let me put it this way, if I had made like a lunch appointment with someone, and they said, sorry, I'm late, I was watching a movie, I'd be like, why did you do that? Did you not get the memo that all movies are approximately 2 hours and maybe a little bit of extra time long? I don't understand how you've missed out on this piece of very relevant information. Moreover, who cares about your text messages? You know, an opportunity to turn off my phone is a dream come true. It feels like I'm freeing myself. To just look at my texts and be like, you know, you don't need to make plans. All you need to do is sit in a chair. It's the easiest thing on planet Earth. Now, on the flip side, it's just a little blue light. Is it annoying? Yeah, it is, like, actually annoying. I know you're like, I put the blue light filter on, you can't see it. I have eyes. I can still see it. It's not as bad. I do appreciate that you're like, I'm gonna be rude, I'll do so in the most courteous way possible. And I know, by the way, the common counter-arguments. What if they're a doctor and they're checking the phone to see if they have to go into emergency surgery? Totally fine. If you are a doctor and you are checking your phone, if you're a 17-year-old doctor out to see a movie with her 17-year-old friends, who may or may not be doctors, that doesn't matter to me, and I'm not gonna judge. You have my permission to check your phone. If your wife is likely to be headed into labor in the next, you know, 2 days or a week, you're welcome to check your phone. I may also suggest not going to see something that, you know, in theory could lead to you being indisposed for 2 hours or so when you might be needed. Maybe just put off seeing it for another week, okay? And if it's going to be out of theaters within that time, maybe it wasn't worth seeing in theaters to begin with. Those are my 2 cents. Wait, where did you come from? I summoned you, that's right. Yeah. That's where you came from. But I do want to offer something on the flip side. I went to see A Quiet Place in theaters, and when I read, like, you know, reports of people being in the theater for A Quiet Place, they were like, oh, it was good, but people in my movie couldn't stop ruffling their popcorn. They were eating their loud snacks. And I was like, you know, that's what the movie theater is there for, to some extent. If you're gonna go to a movie theater and get mad that people are taking advantage of one of the things they sell at the movie theater, that's where I think you're a little bit off base. You may agree or disagree. And by the way, you can always eat a little bit more quietly for sure. If people are going, more power to you if you're disliking that. But I've found that obnoxious. Still in here, huh? What? Weren't you a Demon Judgment a second ago? I might be losing my mind. I could have sworn that you were no, the Demon Judgment was in the other room. Okay, never mind. I got it all together here. Brain's getting a little twisted up. We haven't done, like, Isaac commentary in so long, because it's all been anecdotes nonstop. Which is fine. It's probably better that way, to be honest with you. Ooh, that's spun. In, like, 2 floors. Amnesia as well, but you can't always get what you wanna. Which is another good reason why you shouldn't check your cell phone. that often. I'm about to go into like a little classic, ridiculous NL territory here. Stop me if you think this is ridiculous, okay? Sometimes, if I'm out and I'm bored, I won't look at my cell phone. And the reason I don't want to do it is because I think it weakens my boredom muscle. And that's me, I'm being 100% sincere with you right now. You know, I grew up as an only child, no siblings to terrorize or be terrorized by, to pass the time. Spent a lot of time, parents are like, I gotta go to the bank. So what do? I sit in the chair at the bank and I think to myself, hey, we're going for a drive. How long's the drive? 3 hours. I'd rather not. Well, you're 6, so you're coming with us. Sorry to inform you, you have no control over the situation. What do? Listen to the radio, look out the window. That's all there was. So I have a very... Dude, absolutely. If we respawn as Dark Judas, we respawn as Dark Judas. I'd be happy. I have a very well-articulated boredom muscle. I don't get bored very often. I'm capable of entertaining myself most of the time. But I handle that. Like, I try to make sure that in some situations where actively I'm, like, looking for instant gratification, I try to stave it off a little bit. It's not like I'm Ron Swanson in public, you know. Anyone looks at their cell phone and be like, oh, you can't handle 5 seconds uninterrupted. Oh, this nature, and you're out here texting. You know, I'm not that guy. But sometimes I'm like, you know, just enjoy the world around you a little bit, because one day, maybe an EMP or a solar flare will hit North America, and you'll be without your cell phone, and everybody else is going to be like, I'm so bored, and I'm going to be like, I'm not bored at all. I'm thinking up song parodies in my head with the word love replaced with glove. Isn't it weird how glove is pronounced glove, but clove is pronounced clove? What's wrong with the English language? Don't even get me started on the Louvre. I would be murdered in a post-apocalyptic scenario, probably within, I would say, hours. Minutes, you know, you might be like, this guy's charming. Time, that'll change, I promise you that. But, you know, like a year later, they'd be like, in the name of glove. 2 hands in the name of glove. Shop for some savings gloves before you break the bank. I'm gonna stop, but I want you to know I could probably keep going. The next few might not be that good, but then we'd reach that point where they're so bad they're good, and then they would just be bad, but we would think that they're good because we share an inside joke together. You know how it is. Hey, mister. We cannot really take advantage of our shop, so we might as well peep this boss trap room. 40% deal with the devil chance. That's pentagram talking. Wait, we teleported to deal with the devil. We'd rather not get one. Don't get one here, get one on the next floor. Become Dark Judas, live your life. Hey. No, my friend. That's a terrible idea. We'll be heading downwards. I do think, like, at a movie theater, I've had some bad experiences. I had a very awkward experience in a movie theater once where a man came in with McDonald's, stunk up the whole theater, and I was like, that's a little rude. Like, he had clearly smuggled in McDonald's, and, you know, there's a characteristic smell. It's not like it was like, oh, maybe the movie theater sold Big Macs. No, they didn't sell Big Macs at the movie theater. And then he proceeded to shout at the screen for like 40% of the movie. And that's when I realized, oh no, this man is, you know, mentally disabled. And it really, I'm not trying to say it put a damper on my day, but it was an awkward, like, Curb Your Enthusiasm style situation. Because you can't really be like, keep it down, because I don't think, you know, it was voluntary. And I was no longer mad about the McDonald's. Also, the movie sucked. It was Zach Braff's follow-up to Garden State called The Last Kiss, starring him and Rachel Bilson. Just, it had no reason to exist on planet Earth. Except that Garden State's really popular. What if we gave Zach Braff some money, and he made another Garden State, more or less, but slightly worse. Well, a lot worse, really. That was the most awkward movie theater experience I've ever had, I think. That was pretty bad. Apart from that, I have told people to keep it down from time to time. When I was like 14, I would do it no problem. Because when you're 14, if there's an adult being a bit of a piece of garbage, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna be like, meet me in the parking lot. You're not gonna beat up a 14-year-old. As mentioned a few episodes ago, in order for an adult to fight a 14-year-old, it's gotta be a real piece of garbage adult, or an incredible piece of garbage of a 14-year-old. If you're under the age of, I mean, if you're like 16, 15, you know, you're starting to control your own thoughts and stuff like that, your actions. It's a little different, but if you're like 12, you could, like, rob me. You could try, at least. And I would be like, oh, it's like a real person trying to rob me. Okay, real person, here's my money. Yoink, you know. But now that I'm an adult, there's always the chance, and I don't think it's likely, but there's always the chance that I would be like, hey, could you keep it down? And they'll be like, how about I beat you down, and we're gonna fight about it now for no reason. So for the most part, you know, I'll still be like, quiet! I shout at people on the bike lane sometime. It's never destructive feedback, though. It's always, and, you know, I just want to point out, this is not like, I'm not on the sidewalk going, get out of the bike lane! It's always, like, usually a tourist, and again, I can tell because they're wearing a winter coat in June, and they're on their cell phone, they're standing on a logo of a bicycle, when right next to them is a logo of a person walking, and I just go, you're in the bike lane! And then they always freak out and walk like right and then left and then they look around. And inevitably, I'm sure they're annoyed. The next day, they're like, some jerk almost ran me over today. Cyclists are annoying too sometimes, I'll admit, by the way. I've done this bit, but not for like 2 years, okay? So cut me some slack. Drivers are annoying. Cyclists are annoying. There's a constant war between cyclists and drivers. Cyclists are like, you know, hey, look over your shoulder. You might get me killed. The drivers are like, okay, I'll do that if you stop flaunting the rules of the road and how they don't apply to you. You know, if you stop going up on the sidewalk from the road, crossing on the pedestrian crosswalk, turning left, and then, you know, going against the flow of traffic in the other lane. And the truth is, you're both right and you're both wrong. Drivers as a group, selfish and dangerous. Cyclists as a group, selfish and dangerous. Absolutely. If you're looking for a settlement, I hate you both. And I am both of you as well. I'm not above it. I am probably both of those groups to different people. The only difference is that as a cyclist, the stakes of your mistakes are a lot lower, you know? If you blow through a stop sign and you clip a pedestrian, obviously that's bad. You're an idiot. They could be injured. They could even be killed if you caught them, like, the wrong way. But very rarely is there a situation where a cyclist is like, oops, I killed someone. It doesn't happen very often, you know? In a car, it can happen that easily. There have been situations where people, like, drive home with, like, a dude in their grill. That's crazy. That's why people ask for, you know, attention when you're driving, in case you're like, I don't need to pay attention, I'm a good driver. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're not like that. The same thing happens, you know, you'll be in the bike lane, and then some dude in front of you. Okay. I'm gonna say some dude, but it happened to Corey and I on Saturday, and it was not a dude, it was a lady. But I'm not saying it's because of the lady that she did it, okay? She was on a bike. It's a nice bike route, but it's also a commuter bike path that people use to, like, get to work. So I would kind of consider it a little bit like a highway, but maybe that's just me. while she's on the bike, she pulls out her cell phone and is trying to snap what I have to imagine is like the worst photo of the environment that we're in, because she's taking it while we're moving. And she slows down to like 5 kilometers an hour. She's got a trail of people behind her that look like Lance Armstrong. They're all in the skin-tight jerseys and stuff like that. They got, you know, macronutrient gels wedged in their shirts. Almost causing an accident. You're like, that? No, that's fine, you know? Take it from someone with a large internet following. I completely understand inconveniencing many real people to take a good photo. Anyway, now it's just complaining. But it's not really meant as complaining, like I said. I think for the most part, people behave well. The only time I really get annoyed with people is not at a movie theater or an airplane. At an airport! Oh man, but let's not do that bit again. It's driving. That's when people are at their worst. I need to get here, I don't care who's in my way. Might also be because of where we live, but they've got a reputation everywhere, I think. Hey, Boredom 11, thank you. We're back on the chest. You pop Wheel of Fortune, you blow it up. I would like double sack dagger. Fantastic. You've done me a great service today, thank you so much. We will not get Bookworm, unfortunately. We'll also get double finger, though. Double Robo Baby 2.0, aka Robo Baby 2 to the 2.0. Double Ouija board is worthless. Double finger might stack, but the big thing is double sack dagger, obviously. Obviously. I will actually point out, by the way, there is a loss residing within this potential win. It's a very good run, but our HP never really got to the point, well, it's more of our defense, really. Never really got to the point of being completely safe. We do have a Dark Judas respawn in our back pocket. I mean, it's really in our front pocket. We'd probably prefer not to use it unless strictly necessary. Mostly because, you fool. Most of our damage comes with Sack Dagger now. I gotta be honest with you as well. If we're talking Isaac, and you know I like to. Bone Hearts are so overpowered once you get down to this floor because of the fact that nothing kills them in one hit. Because they're guaranteed to live for 2 hits, it's like having 2 Red Heart containers. It's better than having, like, 2 Spirit Hearts right now. Ignoring the invincibility factor. That helps out. So, it's never... Oh, no. It's never unfathomable in this kind of situation that you're gonna die. But it is unlikely. I think Bonehearts just in and of themselves. Very cool addition to the game. Also cranked up the easiness factor, at least by like a couple percentage points. You know, this is a very good example of that right there. As long as the Boneheart is full. If it's not full, then, you know, you forget what I said earlier. Eyeball tears, you know, because of Sack Dagger, the eyeball tears are not super meaningful. They do occasionally get very large, though. Very large indeed. I bailed. I thought we could kill him, but I got a little gun shy. Alright. Increasingly, it looks like we're going to be completely fine. It's a good run. And you know what? Good anecdotes as well. You might think I'm having a giggle in the court of the king. But, you know, I try to... One of the main reasons I go outside is that I consider myself like an anecdote spelunker, mostly because of these videos. So when things happen to me outside, I'm like, sick. I got something to talk about in the future. Even if I do have to spin a bit of a yarn. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!